Hello and welcome to part 8 of exporting Flash Flipbooks from Adobe InDesign. I'd like to show you some of the new features I've added since I first posted the video and show you just how easy it is to add some of the book scaling features. Um, I've started here. I have the InDesign file, and what I've actually done is written up a manual for how to configure it, which you'll see later. But here's the book, and I'm going to go ahead and export that book. And just for review, I have my folder here. Here's my file. I'm going to hit save, replace my existing one, and I'm going to click include interactive page curl, and I'm going to set this to 144 DPI graphics so that I can scale the book to 200% at a screen resolution of 72 DPI. So that's going to work for me. I'm going to leave this on classic text. I have the option to convert the text to outlines or pixels. Text is going to allow me to actually have text in the book, which makes the best sense. From an efficiency standpoint, let me hit OK. Here are my files. And what remains is this small collection of files here. I have Flipbook manual, which is the one I just exported, and the rest of these files you can pretty much leave alone. Index is what loads the page in our browser. SWFObject.js is a JavaScript that loads the Flash into this index page. And then I've got Bookscaler. The one that you're going to want to check out is Bookscalar.xml. But before we do, I'm going to close this InDesign file, and you see what we get here. There's some additions. One is when the book loads, we have this help screen. I'm going to close it, and now I have the option to put my navigation at the bottom. Here's my scaling control. You'll notice I've also added a C button for table of contents. There's the back cover button, the front cover button as before, and then I can type in a page to jump to, and it goes right there as I type. And as I can leave my mouse hovering, or I can come up. So I've got a little bit more efficient use of space, and the old floating nav bar is still there. Let's look at how to configure this. I'm going to open this XML file. I'm using a program for the Macintosh called Code Wrangler, which colors my code, but you can use any text editor. An XML file is just a text editor. So what you'll notice is, first of all, I have plugged in the name Flipbook Manual. When I save this file, let's refresh this, and you see here is my Flipbook Manual. I can go ahead and go through, and I have the active table of contents, things like that, so I can get through. And it's all organized, and it walks you through the same configuration I'm showing you now, step by step. Now there are some options. I have scale at start. I'm going to set this to 50, which means whatever size I exported the book at, I want to show it initially at 50%. The following setting is called auto size at start. And the one after that is called auto size percent. If I set auto size at start to be true, and it's going to automatically open to 96% of the browser's maximum width or height. If I set this to false and save it, when we refresh this, the book should now open to 50%. And you see that it's small there. Let's go back here and set this to true. You can leave it set to true. I could set this to a smaller percent initially. I like it to be just a little bit less than the browser. Let's save this. Now you might want the book not to overlap the nav bar, in which case you could set this to a smaller percentage. I'm going to set this to 93%, save it, refresh my browser, and you can see the book overlaps a little bit less than it did before. You can keep tweaking that percentage until you get it where you want it. This is the overall percent of the window. Center loaded file is going to center it in the height and width. Otherwise, it's going to be locked not quite to the top. If I set center loaded file to false and save and refresh, when I scale the book, it's going to scale towards the top of the window, not towards the bottom. So instead of being in the center, the scaling point is up here at the top. That's that option. I'm going to set it back to true. Now there's a scalar hint that I can show, and that has to do with use floating nav. I'm going to take this use floating nav here at the bottom and set it to true. And I'm going to go ahead and set this hint, instead of 24 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and set it to 8 seconds. I'm going to refresh this, and what you'll notice is that the new drag bar, or the old drag bar, is still here on top of the boat, on top of the book. And if we wait 8 seconds, now I get this hint, because some people won't realize that they can drag this out of the way if you choose this navigation bar, and they're going to get annoyed at this piece that stays stuck in the center of the book. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the new nav bar, but this seconds before scalar hint simply shows you, allows you to indicate how many seconds before that little hint box pops up. And if you set it to 0, it will deactivate it altogether. So you can still use the floating nav bar and not have the hint pop up. Drag handle width equals 120. Save. You'll notice that inside this book, watch the cursor change. There's a 120 pixel drag handle, invisible drag handle in the middle of the book that allows you to move it around the page. So you can set the width of that drag handle in pixels, and if you set it to 0, it will disable it. Now, I have this ability to limit the page range of the book, and if you set this to false, lower page, upper page range, and spread redirect, these here don't even matter, because you're not limiting the pages. However, you may notice, I'm going to go to my other book here. I've got the front cover and I've got the contents. My lower page range, if I keep going through the pages, I get here and I've blocked out this page. If I go to the next page, I bounce back to the table of contents. But I can go to the About the Author page. I can go ahead. But if I go to a range lower than this page, back into the book, it bumps me back to the table of contents. So if you want to serialize a novel, like I'm doing with this one, releasing a chapter a week, then you can set limit page range to be true, and you can set an upper page range, a lower page range, and spread redirect is which page number do you bump back to if you land on a restricted page, if you turn the page past the lower page range, for example. And these are spread numbers, not numbered page numbers. So InDesign flipbooks are built, including the cover, with pairs of pages. So the front cover is actually spread 2. Within the flipbook format itself, spread number 1, frame number 1 has nothing on it. So to determine page ranges, you're going to go start with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you will notice that my table of contents page, well, this is for the other book, is set to 4. Spread redirect is set to 8. So you can actually set, if you were to, this is set for the other book, but usually you're going to bounce people back to the contents page. But if you wanted to have a page, for example, in the back of the book that encouraged people to buy it, you could bounce them there. Use any spread number you want. Here's the spread number for your table of contents page, so that when you hit the table of contents button, it takes you there. Let's go back to our demo book, and I can come in and click C for contents, and there it is. Page offset, I have it here as 5 pages. And what happens is you will notice that the first numbered page in a book, here's our front cover, is several pages in. My invisible matter on the left might be page 1, page 2, page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I actually have 8 pages, or in this case, 5 pages, 5 spreads before I actually get to the, that's right, because spread number 1 is on frame 2. Actually, I have 5 for my offset, so you're going to want to type numbers in this box and make sure that you land not on the document pages but on the books pages. So if I type in page 10 or page 11, it should take me to the correct spread. That's done with trial and error, but it's something you're going to want to enter as that page offset. Auto page jump is currently set to true. I would leave it there, but if you want, you can save that. And if we refresh the book, let's close this, and you'll notice that the page jump now doesn't jump automatically. You have to click the little arrow to jump to the page you want. I personally prefer the auto page jump. I'll leave that as true. Use floating nav is false. We want this bottom navigation right here. Now, do we want to use the help screen? Let's set that to true, so that when we test our book, it comes up with the help screen in the middle of it. Same here. I have the help screen in the middle of the book. And you can click that help screen, and there's a little question mark icon that stays locked to the corner for opening and closing it. If you don't want to have the help screen, you can set this to false and save that, and when we refresh this book, there's no help screen and there's no icon. Another option is to set it to true, but there's this final setting, show help screen at start, false, save that, and what happens is the question mark icon is here, but the help screen is not visible unless you click on it. So it just gives you an option of how you want to display the book in the beginning. The most important thing here is all you need to do is make your flipbook according to the first tutorials in this series. Drop your document right in here and adjust bookscalar.xml, and as soon as you set this very first setting here, you should be able to test your book and adjust the other options here without ever entering the Flash editing environment.